granted.
Good day, mathematics learners. I'm here again for another math tutorials in Mathematics 10, and I'm your Sir Darwin, and I'll be your guide for today's lesson. And before we proceed, make sure that you have with you your pen and notes, and make sure that you listen attentively during the discussion. For today's lessons, my learners, we'll be discussing about the distance formula, on how to use the distance formula in solving for the distance of 2 points in a given Cartesian coordinate plane. And for our objectives for today's lesson is for you, my learners, to recall on how to plot a point on a given Cartesian plane. Second is for you to define what is a distance formula. And finally, you need to solve the distance between 2 points. And to recall your knowledge, my dear learners, on how to plot a point on a Cartesian plane, let's have first an activity, which I'll be calling the Where I Am game. So, for your task, for this activity, you are going to plot the given coordinate point on the given Cartesian coordinate system, and you will also say the quadrant of the given coordinate point. And a simple reminder, my dear learners, that in our coordinate pair, we have an x coordinate and a y coordinate. So, on this given example, you will see that the numbers with a yellow color corresponds to the x coordinates, while the numbers with red color corresponds to the y coordinates. Okay, so for your task, my dear learners, you need to plot the given ordered pairs in the Cartesian plane and identify where quadrant it belongs. So given the following points, we have 2, 5, negative 4, 3, negative 5 and negative 5, and finally we have 1 and negative 6. So for your task, my learners, you need to plot these given points on this Cartesian plane and name what quadrant did they belong. And in your notes, you can create a Cartesian coordinate plane and plot the given points. I will be giving you 1 minute to finish the given activity. Going back, again, learners, let's check your answers on the given activity. So for the first coordinate, we have 2, 5. It can be found in the first quadrant. While the second point, negative 4 and 3, can be found in the second quadrant. The third coordinate point, negative 5 and negative 5, can be found in the third quadrant. And finally, we have the point 1 and negative 6 that can be found in the fourth quadrant. So very good, my learners. Now, you mastered on how to plot a point on a given Cartesian coordinate plane. To start with the distance formula, let's first define what it is. So, the distance formula is a formula in finding the distance between 2 points and length of a given segment. The distance formula is actually derived from the Pythagorean theorem, wherein we have the formula c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So from that formula of Pythagorean theorem, we have now the formula for distance, wherein we have d is equal to the square root of the quantity of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. As you can see on the screen, we have x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So for this part, you can actually use this on solving for the distance between 2 points that are aligned horizontally. But you just need to put an absolute value for that part. While in the points wherein they are aligned vertically, you can use y sub 2 minus y sub 1 to solve for the distance. But don't forget also to put an absolute value symbol. In the given illustration, we can see that we have a right triangle. So using the distance formula, we actually solve for the length of our hypotenuse. So we have to solve for the length of the hypotenuse, at the same time the distance between the 2 points in a given right triangle. Let's proceed with our example. 1, 3 as our x sub 1 and y sub 1, and 0.76 as our x sub 2 and y sub 2. We substitute the given point on the formula. So we have square root of the quantity of 7 minus 1 squared plus the quantity of 6 minus 3 squared. If we simplify that, we will have square root of 6 squared plus 3 squared. And again, continuing that, we have square root of 36 plus 9, and we have square root of 45. We can answer that as square root of 45, or we can simplify that on the simplest form wherein we have approximate value as 6.7085. So that is our first example. For our second example, we have the coordinate negative 2, 4 and 10 and 1. So for that coordinate points, we assign x sub 1 and y sub 1 as negative 2, 4, and x sub 2 and y sub 2 as 10 and 1. So we substitute the given points on the distance formula, and we will have d is equal to the square root of the quantity of 10 minus 2 squared plus the quantity of 1 minus 4 squared. Simplifying that, we will have 12 squared plus negative 3 squared. Continuing that, we have 12 squared as 144 and negative 3 squared as 9. Adding the two, 144 plus 9, we will have the square root of 153. And we can simplify that as 12.369 approximately. Okay, so my dear learners, there are the examples on how to solve the distance between 2 points or the length of a segment in a given Cartesian coordinate plane. So since we are done with our discussion, let's have a practice exercise for you. So we have two numbers wherein you are going to find the distance of those given coordinate points. So the first one is 4 and 8 and 1, 12. The second number is negative 5 and 8 and 2 and negative 4 coordinate. So your task is to solve for the distance of the given coordinate points. I will be giving you 5 minutes to finish this task. To check your answers, my dear learners, I will be presenting to you in the screen the answer for the given two numbers. So for number 1, the distance is actually equal to 5, while number 2, distance is equal to 10. So very good, my dear learners. You now know how to solve for the distance of a given coordinate points. And for your assignment, my dear learners, copy the given problem on the screen. And that's all for today's math tutorial. I hope you learned a lot from this lesson, and let's continue again for the next session. Thank you for listening.